Hello, and welcome to BrushMyQuant channel. If you want to increase your knowledge of maths and wish to receive regular updates from us, then consider subscribing to the channel by clicking on the subscribe icon to the right bottom of the screen. So let's get started with today's topic of theory on coordinate geometry. So today we'll be discussing about what is an XY or a 2D plane. We'll do the introductions for quadrants. Then we'll talk about the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Then we'll look into distance between 2 points, distance of a point from origin, slope of a line, sine of slope of a line, depending on how inclined the line is, and then slope of parallel and perpendicular lines. So let's start with an introduction to XY or 2D plane. So XY plane looks like this, where X is the horizontal axis and Y is the vertical axis. And every point on the XY coordinate plane will have two coordinates. The first coordinate will be the X coordinate and the second coordinate will be the Y coordinate. Now, since the X-axis and the Y-axis divides this entire XY plane into four quadrants, so let's also understand what those quadrants are. So you have first quadrant, you have second quadrant, you have third and the fourth quadrant. In the first quadrant, both X and Y will be positive. In the second quadrant, X will be negative and Y will be positive. In third quadrant, both X and Y will be negative. And in the fourth quadrant, X will be positive and Y will be negative. You would have also noticed that anything to the right of Y-axis, value of X will be positive. Anything to the left of Y-axis, value of X will be negative. Any value above the X-axis, Y value will be positive. And any value below the X-axis, Y value will be negative. So let's see how a point will look like in a XY plane. So if you look at a point in the XY plane, let's say 4, 3, and if you join or if you draw perpendiculars from this point to X-axis and Y-axis, to intersect the Y-axis at point 0, 3, and to intersect the X-axis at point 4, 0, which is at a distance of 4 units from the origin. And origin, as you know, has the coordinate 0, 0. Now, if there was a line passing through this points 0, 3 and 4, 0, then the point 4, 0 is also known as the x-intercept. That is nothing but the point where the line intersects the x-axis. And the point 0, 3 will be called as a y-intercept. That is where the line intersects the y-axis. Now let's learn how to find distance between 2 points. So let's say we have 2 points A and B on a particular line whose coordinates are x1, y1 and x2, y2. Let's say the distance between the 2 points is d. Now the distance between these 2 points can be found by d is equal to square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. If you want to understand how this value is derived, then do check out a link to the video for the same in the description of this video. Now let's see how we can find distance of a point from origin using the formula which we learned in the previous slide. So let's say we have a point A whose coordinates are a comma b, and we need to find its distance from the point origin, which has the coordinate 0, 0. So we can use the same formula to find this distance d as square root of a minus 0 whole square plus b minus 0 whole square, and which will give us the distance of a point from origin as square root of a square plus b square, where a and b are the coordinates of the point. Now let's see how to find slope of a line. So let's say we have 2 points A and B, which are on a line L, and the coordinates of A and B are x1, y1 and x2, y2. And let's say slope of this line is m. Now slope of a line is actually an indication of how inclined the line is as compared to positive x-axis. That means how tilted the line is as compared to positive x-axis. And the slope can be found using the formula m is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is also known as rise over run. That means increase in y divided by increase in x. If you want to know how this formula is derived, then I have provided a link to a video to the same in the description of this video. Now let's see how the sign of slope of a line changes depending on where exactly the line is inclined. So if the line is tilted towards right, which is shown in this figure, then the line will have a positive slope. If the line is tilted towards left, or tilted like this, then the line will have a negative slope. If the line is parallel to x-axis, then the line will have zero slope. And if the line is perpendicular to x-axis or parallel to y-axis, then the line will have undefined slope. Now let's see how we can relate slope of parallel and perpendicular lines. So let's say if you have two parallel lines, then their slope will actually be equal. Let's take an example. So let's say we have a line L1 whose equation is y equal to m1x plus c1. And we have a line L2 whose equation is y is equal to m2x plus c2. Now, since the two lines are parallel, that means they will have the same slope. So m1 will be equal to m2. Now, if two lines are perpendicular, then product of their slopes will be equal to -1. That means, let's say we have a line L1 given by y is equal to m1x plus c1, and a line L2 y is equal to m2x plus c2, which is perpendicular to L1. Then m1 multiplied by m2 will be equal to -1. That means product of slope of two perpendicular lines will be equal to -1. Now you might be thinking, what is y is equal to m1x plus c1? Now this is a generic equation of a line. If you're not familiar with equation of a line, then do check out the video. A link to the same I have posted in the description of this video, which talks about different forms of equation of a line. Hope you were able to understand the basic concepts of coordinate geometry, and we look forward to sharing more videos with you next week. Thank you for watching the video.